Captain Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the U.E.'s Liberty, watching the stars through the large window. His ship was 3 days out from Earth, carrying the most important mission in human history. They were looking for other life in the galaxy. And today they had found it. The ship's computer made a soft beeping sound. "Captain," said Lieutenant Amy Collins from her station, "we have multiple contacts approaching from the outer system." Jake walked over to look at her screen. "How many?" 12 ships, sir. They're big, much bigger than ours." Dr. Lisa Carter, the ship's scientist, looked up from her work. "Are they responding to our messages?" "Not yet," Amy replied, "but they're definitely coming our way." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Humanity had been searching for alien life for decades. Now it seemed like alien life had found them first. He pressed a button on his chair. "All hands. This is the captain. We may be about to make first contact with an alien species. Stay calm and follow orders." The alien ships moved closer. Jake could see them now on the main screen. They looked like nothing humans had ever built. The ships were dark purple and shaped like long spears. Strange lights flickered along their sides. "They're trying to talk to us," said Communications Officer Ben Taylor. "I'm getting a signal." "Put it through," Jake ordered. The main screen changed. Instead of showing the alien ships, it now showed the face of the alien captain. Jake tried not to show his shock. The creature looked like a giant insect. Its head was covered in hard, shiny plates. It had 4 eyes that glowed with yellow light. When it spoke, its voice was deep and harsh. "I am War Commander Thexville of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. "You will identify yourselves." Jake stepped forward. "I am Captain Jake Harrison of the United Earthship Liberty. We come in peace." Thexville made a sound that might have been laughter. Peace. How typical of weak species. The alien's 4 eyes studied Jake carefully. "You are small, soft. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are pathetic." Dr. Carter moved closer to Jake. "We're explorers," she said. "We're here to learn about other species and make friends." "Friends?" Thexville's voice was full of scorn. "The Zephyrian Empire does not make friends with insects. We rule them." Jake felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "We're not looking for trouble. We just want to understand the galaxy better." "You will understand," Thexville said. "You will understand your place in the Empire. Your species is weak, but you may have some use. You can work for us, dig in our mines, grow food for real warriors." "We're not interested in being slaves," Jake said firmly. Thexville's eyes flashed brighter. "You mistake this for a request." "It is not. The Zephyrian Empire has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We have crushed species far stronger than yours. Your little ships would not last 5 minutes against our fleet." Dr. Carter stepped forward again. "How many species are part of your empire?" "Hundreds," Thexville replied. "Some tried to fight us. They are now extinct. Others were smart enough to submit. They still live, serving their betters." Jake looked at his crew. They were all watching the screen with fear and anger in their eyes. Amy's hands were shaking as she worked at her station. Ben was gripping his chair so hard, his knuckles were white. "What exactly are you asking us to do?" Jake asked. "Simple," Thexville said. "You will return to your home world. You will tell your leaders that the Zephyrian Empire claims all human worlds. Your species will serve us. In return, we will not destroy you. And if we refuse?" Thexville. Mandibles clicked together, and what Jake realized was a smile. "Then we will show you what happens to species that refuse the Empire. Your little worlds will burn. Your weak bodies will feed our war beasts. Your civilization will become a footnote in our history." Jake felt his crew looking at him. He knew they were waiting for his answer. Part of him wanted to tell this alien monster exactly what he thought of his empire. But he also knew that his ship was alone, far from Earth, facing 12 alien warships. How long do we have to decide? He asked. 1 of your years, Nexval said. That should be enough time for even your primitive leaders to understand reality. We will send a representative to your home world in 12 months. Have your answer ready? The screen went black. The alien ships began to move away, but not before one of them fired a single shot past the Liberty. The energy beam was so powerful. It lit up space for miles around. Message received, Jake said quietly. Dr. Carter was already working at her computer. Jake, we need to get back to Earth immediately. The government needs to know about this. Amy, set course for Earth. Maximum. Speed. Yes, sir. As the Liberty turned toward home, Jake stared out at the stars. Humanity had dreamed of meeting aliens for so long. Now they had, and it was a nightmare. The Zephyrians saw humans as weak, primitive, barely worth keeping alive. But Jake had been in the military for 20 years. He had learned that sometimes the best strategy was to let your enemy think you were weaker than you really were. The Zephyrians had made one big mistake. They had given humanity a year to prepare. Dr. Carter, he said, start working on everything we learned about their technology. Every detail. Already on it, Captain. Jake smiled grimly. The Zephyrians thought humans were weak. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 6 months had passed since the Liberty returned to Earth. The news of the alien threat had shaken humanity to its core, but it had also united them like never before. President Amanda Stone stood in the secret command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching the largest deception in human history unfold. How are the colonies responding? She asked General Marcus Webb, who was studying reports from across human space. Better than we hoped, Marcus replied. Every world is playing their part perfectly. The Zephyrians think we're getting ready to surrender. On the main screen, they could see live feeds from a dozen human worlds. On New Boston, workers were taking apart the orbital defense platforms. On Harmony Colony, the space docks looked almost empty as ships were moved to hidden locations. On Terra Nova, the military bases appeared to be shutting down, but President Stone knew the truth. The defense platforms weren't being destroyed. They were being rebuilt into something much more deadly. The ships weren't leaving. They were hiding in asteroid fields and nebulae, waiting for orders. The military bases weren't closing. They were going underground. Dr. Nathan Price walked into the command center, carrying a small device that looked like a simple computer pad. Madam President, we've made a breakthrough. Show me, Amanda said. Nathan activated the device. A hologram appeared showing the inside of a Zephyrian ship. We've been studying the wreckage from their warning shot. Their technology is impressive, but it has weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? General Webb asked. Their entire civilization is based on energy beings living inside mechanical shells, Nathan explained. They don't understand biological life the way we do. They think in terms of energy and force, not chemistry and biology. Dr. Lisa Carter joined them, carrying her own research files. That's where I come in. I've been working with Nathan's team to understand how their bodies work. They're not really alive the way we understand life. They're more like living electricity. What does that mean for us? Amanda asked. Lisa smiled. It means they have no defense against biological weapons. They've never needed them because they've never fought against organic species that understand chemistry. On another screen, Admiral Kevin Torres was giving a speech to the Zephyrian Empire. His message was being broadcast across the galaxy. The United Earth government has decided to accept the generous offer of the Zephyrian Empire, he said, his voice carefully controlled. We recognize that we are a young species with much to learn from our betters. Amanda had to admire Kevin's acting. He sounded defeated and humble, exactly what the Zephyrians wanted to hear, but she could see the fire in his eyes. He was thinking the same thing they all were. Let the aliens think they had won. Captain Diana Foster appeared on a secure channel from her stealth ship, the Phantom. Madam President, we've completed our survey of Zephyrian fleet positions. They're not even trying to hide their movements anymore. How many ships are we looking at? Marcus asked. At least 800 in the main fleet. Maybe more in reserve. They're planning to arrive in Sol System with everything they have. They want to make sure we're properly impressed. Amanda nodded. Good. The more ships they bring, the more we can destroy. Across human space, the deception continued. On Earth's moon, construction crews were building what looked like a surrender platform. The Zephyrians had demanded a formal ceremony where human leaders would bow before their war commander. What they didn't know was that the platform was actually a giant delivery system for Lisa's biological weapon. Engineer Sophie Martinez was overseeing the construction. She had spent months designing systems that looked harmless but could spread the weapon across an entire fleet in minutes. Be atmospheric. Processors are ready, she reported. When we activate them, every Zephyrian ship in the system will be affected. Physicist Alex Johnson had been working on another part of the plan. We finished modifying the cargo ships. From the outside, they look like simple transport vessels. But each one is carrying 1,000 combat drones. The plan was brilliant. In its simplicity, humanity would appear to be surrendering completely. They would invite the Zephyrian fleet to Earth for a grand ceremony. The aliens would come expecting to formalize their conquest of another weak species. Instead, they would fly into the most sophisticated trap ever created. Pilot Ben Taylor was training with the new fighter squadrons. His ships were hidden inside what looked like mining stations in the asteroid belt. The pilots are ready, he reported. We can launch 3,000 fighters in under 5 minutes. Communications specialist Maya Rodriguez had been monitoring Zephyrian transmissions. They're talking about us like we're already their property, she said with disgust. War Commander Thexfall is bragging to other Empire worlds about how easily the humans surrendered. Let him brag, Amanda said. Pride comes before the fall. Dr. Chris Parker had been working with Lisa on the biological weapon. We've run every test we can think of. The compound is completely harmless to human biology, but fatal to Zephyrian energy forms. Once it's in their systems, they have maybe 10 minutes before total system failure. Medical Officer Dr. Helen Wright had been studying the effects. It's not a painful death, she said quietly. Their energy patterns just gradually fade away. By the time they realize what's happening, it's too late to stop it. Amanda felt a moment of sadness. She didn't enjoy the idea of genocide, even against species that threatened humanity. But the Zephyrians had made their choice when they decided humans were only fit to be slaves. How much longer do we have? She asked. The Zephyrian fleet will arrive in 6 months, Admiral Torres reported. War Commander Thexfall wants the surrender ceremony to take place exactly 1 year after first contact. Then we have 6 months to perfect our trap, Amanda said. I want every detail checked and double-checked. We only get one chance at this. General Webb pulled up tactical displays showing human fleet positions. Our ships are scattered across 40 star systems, all hidden and waiting. When the signal comes, they'll converge on Sol System from every direction. The Zephyrians won't know what hit them, Kevin added. They think they're coming to accept our surrender. Instead, they're flying into their own destruction. Amanda looked around the command center at the faces of her team. These were good people, forced to plan the destruction of an entire fleet, because aliens had threatened to enslave their species. Remember, she said, we didn't start this war, but we're going to finish it. On the screens around them, the deception continued. Human worlds looked defeated and broken. Ships appeared to be dismantled. Defense systems seemed offline. Everything the Zephyrians saw confirmed their belief that humans were weak and conquered. Had no idea that humanity was preparing to devour their entire fleet. The day had finally arrived. Admiral Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as the Zephyrian Empire's grand fleet emerged from hyperspace near Earth. 800 alien warships appeared like dark stars against the void, their purple hulls gleaming with menacing power. "They're even bigger than our intelligence reports suggested," said Commander Ryan Blake, standing beside Jake at the observation window. "Good," Jake replied calmly. "The bigger they are, the harder they fall." War Commander Thexvol's massive command ship led the alien fleet. It was easily 10 times larger than any human vessel, bristling with energy weapons and covered in armor plates that sparkled with unknown technology. The alien had brought his entire battle group to witness humanity's surrender. On Earth below, the surrender ceremony was being broadcast across the galaxy. Millions of beings from hundreds of worlds were watching to see the mighty Zephyrian Empire claim another species. What they didn't know was that they were about to witness the Empire's destruction. Instead, Dr. Lisa Carter worked quietly at her station, monitoring the biological weapon systems hidden throughout the Sol system. Her compound was loaded into atmospheric processors on the moon, hidden in supply stations around Earth's orbit, and secretly installed in the surrender platform itself. "All systems are ready," she reported to Jake. "The moment we give the signal, every Zephyrian ship in the system will be exposed." Engineer Sophie Martinez was coordinating with hidden installations across the solar system. What looked like simple mining operations and cargo stations were actually massive weapons platforms. "Railgun batteries are charged and ready," she whispered into her communicator. "Target solutions locked on all enemy ships." The Zephyrian fleet moved into position around Earth with arrogant confidence. They showed no concern for human defenses because they believed there weren't any. Their sensors detected only the few ships that humanity had deliberately left visible, all appearing to be unarmed transport vessels. Captain Diana Foster watched from her hidden position behind Europa. Her stealth ships were scattered throughout the outer system, invisible to Zephyrian sensors. "Enemy fleet is in perfect position," she reported on the secure channel. "They're not even trying to maintain defensive formations." Pilot Ben Taylor waited with 3,000 other fighter pilots in concealed hangars built inside asteroids and moons. His squadron had been training for this moment for months. "All fighter wings report ready for launch," he said quietly. Surrender ceremony began on the platform near Earth's moon. President Amanda Stone walked slowly toward the center stage, her head bowed in apparent defeat. She was surrounded by human leaders from across the colonies, all playing their parts in the greatest deception in galactic history. War Commander Thexvol's shuttle landed on the platform with a dramatic flourish. The alien commander emerged, wearing ceremonial armor that made him look even more imposing than usual. His 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he surveyed the humans kneeling before him. "Citizens of the galaxy," Thexvol announced, his voice being broadcast to billions of beings across space, "witness the wisdom of submission to the Zephyrian Empire. Another species has learned that resistance is futile." Dr. Nathan Price monitored the ceremony from his hidden command post. His teams had spent months preparing for this moment, modifying every piece of human technology to appear harmless while hiding devastating capabilities. "All modified systems are online and ready," he reported. Physicist Alex Johnson watched his cargo ship drones drift innocently near the Zephyrian fleet. To alien sensors, they looked like simple supply vessels, bringing gifts for the surrender ceremony. In reality, each ship contained 1,000 combat drones ready to swarm the enemy fleet. People of Earth. War Commander Thexval continued his speech. You have made the wise choice. Your species will serve the Empire faithfully, and in return, you will be allowed to live. President Amanda Stone stepped forward. This was the moment they had all been waiting for. She looked up at the alien commander with what appeared to be resignation. We accept the terms of the Zephyrian Empire, she said in a defeated voice. But then she smiled. However, Amanda continued, her voice suddenly strong and clear, we have our own terms to offer. Thexval's eyes flashed with anger. You are in no position to make terms, human. Actually, Amanda said, pressing a hidden button on her uniform, we are in the perfect position. The signal went out simultaneously to every human installation in the Sol system. Admiral Jake Harrison spoke one word into his communicator. Devour. Everything happened at once. Dr. Lisa Carter's biological weapon began dispersing from hidden sources throughout the system. Invisible clouds of the compound spread toward the Zephyrian fleet, carried by the solar wind and atmospheric processors that the aliens had ignored as harmless. Engineer Sophie Martinez's hidden railgun platforms revealed themselves and opened fire. What had appeared to be simple asteroid mining stations suddenly blazed with kinetic projectiles that tore through Zephyrian shields, designed to stop energy weapons. Captain Diana Foster's stealth ships decloaked around the alien fleet's flanks. Her ships had been modified to look like simple research vessels, but they carried the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. Ben Taylor led the largest fighter assault in human history as 3,000 ships erupted from hidden bases throughout the solar system. The Zephyrians had never seen anything like the swarm of small, fast ships that suddenly surrounded their massive vessels. Physicist Alex Johnson's cargo drones opened like deadly flowers, releasing clouds of combat machines that swarmed over the alien ships. The Zephyrians found themselves under attack by thousands of small robots that cut through their hulls like angry insects. War Commander Thexval staggered on the surrender platform as the first effects of the biological weapon reached his personal systems. What is happening? He demanded, his voice already weaker than before. You made a mistake, President Amanda Stone told him calmly. You thought we were weak because we are organic. You forgot that sometimes being organic is an advantage. Communications. Specialist Maya Rodriguez was broadcasting the battle to the entire galaxy. Every species that had been enslaved by the Zephyrian Empire could watch as their oppressors were systematically destroyed by the weak humans. Medical officer Dr. Helen Wright monitored the weapon's effects on the alien fleet. It's working perfectly, she reported. Zephyrian energy systems are failing across their entire fleet. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Zephyrians, expecting a surrender ceremony, found themselves trapped in a perfectly orchestrated ambush. Their massive ships, designed to intimidate and overwhelm, were being torn apart by weapons they had never imagined. Dr. Chris Parker watched as alien after alien collapsed as their energy-based biology failed. The compound is spreading faster than we calculated, he reported. The entire enemy fleet will be affected within minutes. General Marcus Webb coordinated the human attack from his command center. All units report successful engagement. Enemy fleet is taking massive casualties. No significant human losses reported. War Commander Thexval fell to his knees as his body's energy systems failed. He looked up at Amanda Stone with his dimming eyes. This is impossible. You are weak. Primitive. No, Amanda said quietly. We're just different. And you never bothered to understand the difference. The greatest military force in galactic history was being devoured by a species they had dismissed as harmless insects. The Zephyrian Empire's 800 warships were dying, and there was nothing they could do to stop it. The destruction of the Zephyrian fleet was total and terrifying. Admiral Jake Harrison watched from his command ship as 800 alien warships died around Earth. The biological weapon worked exactly as Dr. Lisa Carter had promised. Mighty Zephyrian Empire was being devoured by microscopic compounds that their energy-based biology could not fight. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Amy Collins, "we're receiving surrender signals from 17 enemy vessels. Their life support systems are failing." Jake felt no satisfaction in the victory. War was ugly, even when it was necessary. "Tell them to evacuate to escape pods. We'll pick up survivors." War Commander Dexval's flagship was dying like all the rest. The massive vessel that had seemed so threatening just hours before was now drifting helplessly through space. Its weapons were offline, its shields were down, and its crew was slowly dying as their energy forms faded away. On the surrender platform, War Commander Dexval himself was barely conscious. President Amanda Stone knelt beside the fallen alien leader. Despite everything he had threatened to do to humanity, she felt sad watching him die. "Why?" Dexval whispered with his last breath. "We were strong. You were weak." "Strength isn't about size or weapons," Amanda replied gently. "It's about understanding your enemy better than they understand you." Dr. Nathan Price was coordinating the collection of Zephyrian technology from the dying ships. "We need to move fast," he told his teams. "Once their power cores fail completely, we won't be able to study their systems." Engineer Sophie Martinez led salvage crews to the largest alien vessels. "The technology here is incredible," she reported. "Their energy manipulation systems are centuries ahead of ours. If we can reverse engineer this..." Captain Diana Foster's stealth ships were already moving beyond the Sol system. Her mission was to locate other Zephyrian fleets before they learned what had happened to their main force. "Long-range sensors show 3 more enemy fleets in nearby systems," she reported. "None of them know about the battle yet." The news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Communications specialist Maya Rodriguez had been broadcasting the battle live to every species in the known galaxy. The response was immediate and dramatic. "We're getting messages from dozens of worlds," Maya reported excitedly. "Species that were enslaved by the Zephyrians are declaring independence. Some are asking for human protection." Pilot Ben Taylor was leading recovery operations around the destroyed alien fleet. His fighters were picking up escape pods and searching for survivors. "Most of the Zephyrian crew didn't make it," he reported sadly. "The biological weapon was too fast for them to escape." Dr. Chris Parker was studying the weapon's effects in real time. "The compound is already breaking down," he said. "It's designed to be temporary. In a few hours, there will be no trace of it in the system." Medical Officer Dr. Helen Wright was treating the few Zephyrian survivors they had managed to rescue. "They're not evil," she told Amanda during a brief break. "They're just creatures who were raised to believe that might makes right." Admiral Kevin Torres was already planning humanity's next moves. "We can't stop here," he told the assembled human leaders. "The Zephyrian Empire has hundreds of worlds and thousands of ships. When they learn what happened here, they'll come for revenge." "Then we need to make sure they can't," General Marcus Webb replied. "We need to take this war to them before they can reorganize." President Amanda Stone was thinking about the bigger picture. The destruction of the Zephyrian fleet was just the beginning. "We're not trying to build our own empire," she reminded everyone. "We're trying to free the galaxy from empire entirely." Physicist Alex Johnson was analyzing the data from his drone swarms. The Zephyrian ships were powerful, but they were designed to fight other energy-based species. They had no defense against our kinetic weapons or biological attacks. The humans began to understand something important. The Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy for so long that they had forgotten how to fight enemies who thought differently than they did. Their technology was advanced, but it was specialized for fighting other energy beings. Dr. Lisa Carter was already working on improvements to the biological weapon. Now that we understand their biology better, we can create more targeted compounds. She explained. We could develop weapons that disable their ships without killing the crew. That would be better, Amanda agreed. We don't want to be known as the species that commits genocide, even against our enemies. As the Sol system was cleaned up, reports came in from across the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire was in chaos. Species that had been enslaved for generations were rising up. Worlds that had paid tribute for centuries were declaring independence. Captain Diana Foster sent back intelligence from her scouting missions. The Zephyrian response is confused and disorganized, she reported. They can't believe that their main fleet was destroyed by primitive humans. Some of their commanders are refusing to believe the reports. Engineer Sophie Martinez was making incredible discoveries in the alien technology. Their ships are grown, not built, she explained. The Zephyrians use biological engineering combined with energy manipulation. It's completely different from our approach. Dr. Nathan Price was most excited about the Zephyrian power systems. If we can understand how they generate and store energy, we could revolutionize human technology. Our ships could be 10 times more powerful. But Admiral Jake Harrison was focused on the immediate threat. Intelligence suggests that the Zephyrians have at least 3 major fleets still operational, he told the War Council. Each one is larger than what we just destroyed. Then we need to hit them before they can coordinate a response, Kevin Torres argued. We have the advantage of surprise, but it won't last long. President Amanda Stone made the decision that would change galactic history. We're not going to wait for them to come to us, she announced. We're going to carry this war to every Zephyrian stronghold in the galaxy. The room fell silent. Everyone understood what she was proposing. Humanity would go from defending their own worlds to launching an offensive campaign across the entire galaxy. The other species will help us, Maya Rodriguez added. I'm getting messages from rebel groups on dozens of Zephyrian worlds. They want to coordinate attacks with our forces. General Marcus Webb was already planning the campaign. We'll need to move fast and hit multiple targets simultaneously. If we give the Zephyrians time to adapt to our tactics, they'll find countermeasures. Dr. Helen Wright raised a concern. We need to be careful about how we conduct this war. If we become as brutal as the Zephyrians, we'll be no better than they are. Amanda nodded. We're not fighting to replace their empire with our own. We're fighting to make sure no species ever enslaves the galaxy again. As the human fleet prepared to leave Sol System, the magnitude of what they had accomplished was becoming clear. In a single day, they had destroyed the most powerful military force in galactic history. But more importantly, they had proven that the Zephyrian Empire could be beaten. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of Zephyrian dominance was ending, and humanity was just getting started. 2 years after the Battle of Sol, Fleet Admiral Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of his new flagship, watching as the last Zephyrian stronghold surrendered. The war that had started with humanity appearing weak had ended with the complete transformation of galactic civilization. Admiral, reported Captain Amy Collins, the Zephyrian High Command is requesting terms for surrender. Jake nodded slowly. The final battle had been fought not with weapons, but with words. The Zephyrian Empire had collapsed from within as species after species declared independence. The aliens who had once ruled the galaxy now controlled only a handful of worlds. President Amanda Stone appeared on the communication screen from Earth. Jake, how do you want to handle this? The same way we've handled all the others, Jake replied. Offer them membership in the Federation as equals. No revenge, no punishment beyond war crimes trials. Dr. Lisa Carter had spent the last 2 years working to undo the damage her biological weapon had caused. "We've developed medical treatments for the surviving Zephyrians," she reported. "Their energy-based biology is actually quite fascinating when it's not trying to kill us." The Terran Federation had grown beyond anything humanity had imagined. What started as a desperate defense of Earth had become a voluntary alliance of over 300 species. Former Zephyrian slaves and their former masters were learning to live together as equals. Engineer Sophie Martinez was overseeing the integration of Zephyrian technology with human engineering. "The combination of their energy manipulation and our biological sciences is creating incredible advances," she explained. "Ships that can heal themselves, weapons that disable rather than destroy, power sources that last for centuries." Dr. Nathan Price had become the Federation's chief technology officer. "The Zephyrians taught us that advanced technology doesn't always mean better technology," he said. "Their ships were powerful, but they were also rigid. Our approach is more flexible, more adaptable." Captain Diana Foster commanded the Federation's exploration fleets. Her ships were discovering new species and new worlds every month. "The galaxy is much larger and more diverse than either humans or Zephyrians ever realized," she reported. "We're finding species that have been hiding from the Empire for centuries." On the former Zephyrian capital world, Admiral Kevin Torres was working with alien leaders to establish the new galactic government. "The hardest part isn't the technology or the military," he explained. "It's getting species to trust each other after thousands of years of empire and slavery." Communications specialist Maya Rodriguez had become the Federation's chief diplomat. "Every species has their own way of thinking, their own values," she said. "The trick is finding common ground without forcing anyone to give up what makes them unique." The surrender ceremony took place on New Geneva, a neutral world that had become the Federation's capital. Unlike the Zephyrian ceremony 2 years earlier, this one was about reconciliation, not domination. War Commander Kethvar, who had replaced the dead Vexval, approached the podium with dignity. "The Zephyrian people accept membership in the Terran Federation," he announced. "We ask only for the chance to prove that we have learned from our mistakes." President Amanda Stone stepped forward. "The Federation welcomes all species who are willing to live in peace," she replied. "Your knowledge and experience will help us build a better galaxy for everyone." General Marcus Webb had spent the war years developing new military doctrines. "The Federation Defense Force isn't designed to conquer," he explained to the assembled leaders. "It's designed to protect member worlds and help species solve disputes peacefully." Dr. Chris Parker had been working on medical exchanges between species. "Every species has something to teach us about biology and healing," he said. "The Zephyrians' energy-based medicine is helping us treat diseases we've never been able to cure." Medical officer Dr. Helen Wright had established hospitals throughout the former empire. "War causes trauma that goes beyond physical injuries," she observed. "It's going to take generations to heal the psychological damage caused by centuries of domination." Pilot Ben Taylor now commanded mixed squadrons of human and alien pilots. "Flying with other species has taught me that there are many ways to think about space combat," he said. "The Zephyrians were actually excellent pilots once they stopped thinking they were superior to everyone else." Physicist Alex Johnson was leading research into the fundamental forces of the universe, combining human science with Zephyrian energy. Manipulation and the knowledge of dozens of other species is revealing secrets about reality that none of us could have discovered alone. The transformation wasn't complete, and it wasn't perfect. There were still conflicts between species, still worlds that refused to join the Federation, still groups that wanted to restore the old empire. But for the first time in galactic history, there was real hope for peace. "The most important thing we learned," President Amanda Stone said in her address to the galaxy, "is that diversity isn't weakness. The Zephyrians failed because they thought everyone should be like them. We're succeeding because we celebrate our differences. Jake Harrison was preparing to retire from active duty. He had spent his career fighting wars, but he wanted to spend his remaining years helping to build peace. The galaxy doesn't need more warriors, he told his replacement. It needs explorers, scientists, teachers, and healers. Dr. Lisa Carter had been nominated for the Federation's highest scientific honor. The biological weapon was necessary, she said quietly, but I hope it's the last time we ever have to use such methods. Science should be about creating life, not destroying it. The ceremony ended with representatives from hundreds of worlds signing the Federation Charter. Each species added their own symbol to the document, creating a work of art that represented the diversity of galactic civilization. As the crowds dispersed, Jake Harrison found himself standing alone on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Amanda Stone joined him, and they watched ships from dozens of different worlds departing for their home systems. Do you think it will last? Amanda asked. Jake considered the question carefully. The Federation? Maybe, maybe not. But the idea will last. The idea that different species can work together as equals instead of one dominating all the others. That's something the galaxy will never forget. The Zephyrians thought we were weak because we were different, Amanda said. They never understood. That being different made us stronger. And we almost made the same mistake, Jake replied. We could have tried to build our own empire after we won. Instead, we chose to build something better. Captain Diana Foster's voice came over the communication system. All Federation vessels, this is Explorer Command. We've detected signals from the galactic rim that suggest there may be entire civilizations we've never encountered. Request permission to begin long-range exploration missions. Jake smiled. Permission granted, Captain. The galaxy is still full of mysteries. As the years passed, the story of humanity's victory over the Zephyrian Empire became legend. Children of 100 different species learned about the day when the weak humans showed the galaxy that strength came not from domination, but from understanding. The lesson spread far beyond the Federation's borders. Even in distant galaxies, species began to question whether might truly made right. The idea that cooperation was stronger than conquest took root across the universe. Dr. Nathan Price established universities on dozens of worlds where beings from different species learned from each other. Knowledge belongs to everyone, he said. When we share what we know, we all become stronger. Engineer Sophie Martinez designed new cities where multiple species could live together comfortably. Every species has different needs, she explained, but with good engineering, we can create spaces where everyone can thrive. The former war commander Kethfor became one of the Federation's most effective peacekeepers. I spent centuries believing that the strong should rule the weak, he said. Now I understand that true strength comes from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. President Amanda Stone served 3 terms before retiring to write her memoirs. Her book, They Thought We Were Weak, became required reading in schools across the galaxy. The final chapter ended with a simple message. Never judge a species by their appearance. Judge them by their actions and their dreams. A galaxy that had once been ruled by fear was now guided by hope. Species that had been enemies for millennia learned to work together. Worlds that had been barren under the Empire bloomed with new life under the Federation. And in the depths of space, human exploration ships continued to push outward, carrying the message that had started it all, that being different wasn't a weakness to be conquered, but a strength to be celebrated. The Zephyrians had thought humans were weak. They had been wrong about that, but they had been right about one thing. Humanity had devoured something. They had devoured the very concept of galactic empire, replacing it with something the universe had never seen before. A civilization based On mutual respect and shared dreams, the age of domination was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and it all started because one species refused to be judged by their appearance, choosing instead to be judged by their actions. In the end, that made all the difference.